How cute are these little violets on their lily pads? If you want to learn to make them, stay tuned and don't forget to check the description for all the items that you'll need. So with our purple DK yarn and my 4mm hook, I'm going to start by doing a slip knot onto my hook, and now I'm going to chain 2. This is in replacement of a magic loop. Now in the second chain from hook, we're going to do 5 single crochets. So insert your hook into the chain, yarn over and pull through. So there's 2 loops on your hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull through both loops on our hook. So that's 1 single crochet. Then we've got 2, 3, silly tails in the way, pull them out, 4 and 5. And then we're going to end this round by doing a slip stitch into the first single crochet of this round. So insert hook, yarn over, pull through and pull straight through the loop on your hook. So now we can go straight into doing our first petal. So we're going to chain 1 and then we're going to do a double crochet. So to do that, we're going to yarn over our hook, we're going to insert our hook into the same stitch beneath. So into one of our single crochets beneath. We're then going to yarn over and pull through. So we've got 3 loops on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops on our hook. Eventually. And then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops on our hook. Now we're going to do a treble crochet. So we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook twice and insert it into the same stitch that we did our double crochet. Yarn over and pull through. So we have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops on our hook. And then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops on our hook. Now we're going to do another double crochet into that same stitch. And then to end the petal, we're going to chain 1 and slip stitch into the same stitch beneath. So all of our stitches have been done in the same chain from beneath. And that is our first petal complete. Nearly. If I can get my slip stitch through. There we go. So we're going to do all of that again in the next stitch below. So we're going to chain 1, then we're going to do a double crochet and we're going to put this into the next stitch beneath. Then we're going to do a treble crochet into the same stitch. Then we're going to do a double crochet. Then we're going to chain 1 and slip stitch back into the base to complete our second petal. Then we're going to do this 5 times in total, so we've got another 3 more times of doing it. So into the next stitch we're going to double crochet, followed by a treble crochet, followed by a double crochet, chain 1 and then slip stitch back into the base. Then let's do our next petal, chain 1 and into the next stitch let's do a double crochet, then a treble crochet, another double, chain 1 and slip stitch into the base. So we're up to our last petal now. Chain 1, and in the last chain we're going to do our double crochet, our treble crochet, double crochet, and then chain 1, slip stitch into the base, and I'm going to chain 1 and snip my yarn, and I can pull through to fasten off. So it's now time to weave in our ends, so I'm going to thread my tail onto my embroidery needle and I'm going to thread or weave in these ends. So I'm going to randomly thread it throughout the flower to make it harder for it to unravel, and then I'm going to snip it. And I'm going to do the same with the other end. And there you have the little flower. So let's make the lily pad next. So for our leaf with our green DK yarn, we're going to slip knot onto our hook and we're going to chain 2. And into the second chain from 2, we're going to do 6 single crochets. So that's 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And then we're going to slip stitch into the first of the single crochets from this round to join. The next round is going to be half double crochet, so we're going to chain 2 and we're going to do 2 half double crochet stitches into every stitch beneath. So we're going to increase from 6 to 12. So that's 1 and 2 half double crochet in the first stitch, 3 and 4 into the second stitch, 5 and 6 into the third stitch, 7 and 8 into the next stitch, 9 and 10, 11 and 12. So they are all our half double crochets for that round, and we want to join. So into the top of the chain 2 we made at the beginning of this round, we're going to do a slip stitch, so make sure it's the top of the chain 2. Insert our hook and we're going to do a slip stitch to join this round. For our next round, we're going to chain 2 again and we're going to do 1 half double crochet into our first stitch, and then we're going to do 2 half double crochets into our next stitch. So that's 1 and 2. Then we're going to do 1 half double crochet into the next stitch and 2 half double crochet into the following stitch, and we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around, doing 1 half double crochet in one stitch and 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So this is going to increase our stitches from 12 stitches to 18. So we're now at our last stitch and we're not going to join to end this round, we're going to start working in rows. So I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn my work. So for our last row, I'm going to single crochet 1 into the first stitch and single crochet 1 into the second stitch, and then I'm going to single crochet 2 into the third stitch, and then I'm going to repeat that, single crochet 1 into the next stitch, 1 into the stitch after, and 2 into the stitch after that. Try that one again, and 2 into the stitch after that. And we're going to repeat that all the way around for this row. So we're going to do 1 single crochet into 2 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the following stitch, and this is going to increase our stitches from 18 to 24, and it's going to give us a nice little neat border to finish our leaf off. So 2 stitches into the same stitch, and 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and 2 single crochet into the very last stitch. Chain 1 and fasten off. So there's our leaf, and as normal we now have to weave in our ends. So using my embroidery needle, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the flower, and I'm going to weave in these ends to make it harder for them to unravel. Now to make our stem, slip knot onto our hook with our yellow yarn, and we're going to chain 3. So that's 1, 2 and 3, and then slip stitch into the first of the chains. We're going to do that again. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then slip stitch back into the bottom, then chain 3 again, 1, 2 and 3, and slip stitch back into the first chain. So now we can fasten off our yellow, and we're going to use these tails to tie or fasten our flower onto the leaf. my embroidery needle, I'm going to tack the tails onto it, and I'm going to thread it through the flower and the leaf. Then I'm going to pick up the other tail, and I'm going to thread this to the opposite side of where I threaded the initial tail. So now I just need to have a fluff with the flower. And then I'm going to tie these tails tight in the back. I'm going to do 3 double knots. And then I can cut my yarn ends. And there you have your finished violet. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you make any of these little flowers, please tag me on Instagram and hashtag Teenie Crochets. As I said, I am Teenie Crochet. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one.